The beautiful woman in front of me suddenly clapped her hands and said, "I like it." As I stood there bewildered, she handed me her business card. It had Emily Smith written on it, and her title was, "What?" I stared at her in shock. "My name is Alex, 31 years old." Maybe I arrived too early. I hesitated to enter the charming inn nestled quietly in the mountains. Check-in time was at 3 p.m. It was still only 1 p.m. I intended to enjoy a leisurely drive through the mountain roads alone. But I ended up arriving much sooner than expected due to my excitement about the inn. When I quietly entered, a beautiful woman in a classy dress greeted me. "Welcome. Are you here to stay?" I hesitantly replied. "Yes, but I arrived a bit too early." "Can I wait in the lobby?" I worried I was being presumptuous, but she smiled warmly and said, "Of course. Please make yourself comfortable. If your room is ready early, we'll be happy to show you in." "No worries, that would be too much. I actually enjoy being in the lobby even after checking in. Just letting me stay here is more than enough." I explained flusteredly, and she smiled and said, "I see. If you need anything, please feel free to ask." She then left. Her graceful manner and walking were beautiful. I followed her with my eyes for a moment, then sat down on a luxurious sofa in the lobby. Sitting on such a grand sofa by myself, I took out a paperback book. Reading in the lobby is one of my favorite parts of traveling. After a while, the entrance to the inn opened. A woman entered alone. Listening closely, it seemed she had also arrived early like me. She also sat down in the lobby to wait. She sat on a sofa 2 tables away from mine, set up her laptop, and began to work. She was stunningly beautiful. With slightly upturned, almond-shaped eyes and long lashes. Her slender face was sharp and elegant, and she had an excellent figure. She crossed her slim legs gracefully and sipped her coffee. Her laptop must have finished booting up. She started typing away on the keyboard. "Today, I'm surrounded by beautiful women," I thought to myself, feeling lucky. Just then, I heard a small exclamation, "Oh no," from the innkeeper. She seemed confused behind the reception. She kept getting up and sitting down, sometimes lightly tapping the computer, muttering, "What should I do?" before heading to the back. Male staff members came out one after another, trying to work on the computer, all looking troubled. "What should we do? We can't access the guests' information like this." Hearing that, I stood up without thinking. I rummaged through my bag, took out a business card, and approached the reception. "Excuse me," I called out, and the innkeeper looked a bit startled but then politely said, "Oh, I'm sorry for the disturbance." "No, it's not that. Here, this is who I am." I handed her my business card. She looked closely at the card, and I explained. "You can't access the guest information, right? My company created that system, and I was involved in its development. If you don't mind, I can take a look at it for you." She finally understood after seeing the company name on the card. "Are you sure? I'm sorry to trouble you on your vacation," she said apologetically, her eyebrows furrowing in concern. "Of course. If it's a bug, it's our fault. We're the ones who should apologize." With that, I was allowed behind the reception. In fact, I had come to stay at this inn to check if the system I developed was working properly. This inn recently introduced a daytime stay plan, prompting them to update their system. They commissioned our company to create this system. Seeing my work being used satisfactorily was one of the rewarding aspects of my job. But encountering a bug like this was unexpected. Thinking that, I started up the system. However, it immediately shut down. Relieved that the computer itself was still operational, I began entering commands into the system while asking the innkeeper some questions. "Did the system suddenly shut down? What were you doing when it happened?" Sensing her anxiety, I added, "Don't worry, you didn't break it. Knowing what you were doing at the time helps identify the bug. Please tell me anything you remember." My words seemed to reassure her. "Well, I was entering room numbers. I think it happened when I was adding a note for a guest who needs assistance. It seems something specific triggered the issue. I carefully checked the input-related code and made necessary corrections. 30 minutes later. When I restarted the system, it launched successfully. I opened several windows to ensure there were no issues and then said, I think it should be fine now. Please try entering the information that caused the error earlier. The innkeeper nervously operated the computer and successfully completed the input. Oh, thank you. It worked. I'm so relieved. Please let me thank you somehow. Feeling humbled, I replied. No, really. It was our fault for delivering a defective product. I'm sorry for the trouble. I hastily said this and decided to return to the lobby. The innkeeper seemed like she wanted to say more, but she returned to her work to make up for the lost time. As I approached the sofa where I was originally sat on, I heard a voice, "Hey." It was the beautiful woman with the laptop from earlier. Seeing my confusion, she asked, "Are you good with computers?" "I am. I'm a system engineer." She smiled and said, "My laptop's been acting up. Could you take a look at it? I'll make it worth your while." Dizzy from her smile, I nodded in agreement and took a look at her laptop. "A strange screen keeps popping up," she explained. Upon checking, a peculiar character appeared every few minutes. After investigating, I found a suspicious file. "Did you download anything today?" I asked. She replied, "No, I was just connected to the internet for work." I showed her the screen. "This file was downloaded a few minutes ago. It's not a virus, but if you don't recognize it, can I delete it?" She nodded yes, so I deleted the file. "I think it should be fine now." I handed her laptop back. As she checked her laptop, the innkeeper brought over some coffee. "Thank you for earlier. Would you like some coffee?" "You too, miss." Placing the coffee down, she smiled. "Can I have some too?" The woman raised her head from her laptop, surprised. "Of course." The innkeeper replied with a smile, then turned to me. "Thank you again for your help. It was very kind of you. If we have any more issues, can we contact your company for assistance?" I nodded in agreement. "Yes, that's fine. I plan to retire soon, but I'll make sure my colleague takes over." The innkeeper looked disappointed. "Really? That's too bad." I gave a faint smile. "Could I borrow my business card for a moment?" I took the card from the innkeeper and wrote down the name of a trusted colleague. "If you need anything, please contact this person. They're even more reliable than I am." The innkeeper smiled as she took the card and said, "Thank you," before leaving. As I admired her poised figure, I heard a voice. "Are you really quitting? You're so skilled. Were you headhunted by another company?" Her abrupt questions caught me off guard, but I answered honestly. "No, the company is struggling financially. They asked for voluntary resignations, so I stepped up." Her eyes widened. "You volunteered? Why?" Her straightforwardness was oddly comforting. "I'm single and free. All my colleagues are either married or have partners, so they would be in trouble if they suddenly lost their jobs." She laughed. "You're too kind." I thought for a moment. Maybe. I just didn't want to see everyone panic. "I have no regrets." She smirked. "You're really kind. But I don't dislike that." Her words flustered me. "Well, the current company just churns out products without thorough checkups. I want to do more meticulous work. But I haven't lined up another job yet." My rushed words revealed a truth I hadn't even admitted to myself. I had come to this in hoping to see my system working flawlessly. Instead, I saw it encountering bugs. With more thorough checks, these bugs could have been fixed before delivery. That was that kind of easy mistake. I pondered this with a somber expression. The beautiful woman suddenly clapped her hands and said, "I like you." I looked puzzled, and she handed me her business card. It had Emily Smith written on it, and her title was, "What? CEO?" I stared at her in shock. "Yes. I'm Emily, the CEO of a moderately successful IT company I founded in my 20s. Call me Emily." She introduced herself with a smile and a wink. As I stood there bewildered, she asked, "And your name?" I handed her my business card and said, "I'm Alex." "Alex. I tested you earlier, Emily said, tapping her laptop. Ah, that file. She smirked. Yes, it was a setup. Did you notice? I embedded a hastily made file. I frowned. You tested me? She straightened her posture a bit. Watching you at the reception, I quickly realized you're quite skilled as a systems engineer. I just wanted to see your character. Seeing you rush to help the innkeeper told me you were a good person, but I wondered if you'd help a stranger like me too. Her words made my heart race. I was planning to headhunt you, but since you're leaving your job, it simplifies things. How about joining my company? I guarantee you'll find it rewarding. We discussed the terms and job details for an hour, and I decided to join Emily's company. A few months later, I was thriving at her company. The distance required me to move, but the job was fulfilling and involved meticulous transactions, making it my ideal workplace. Being a startup, the employees were friendly, and even someone as shy as me quickly fit in. All the single male employees admired Emily. And why wouldn't they? Emily's style in the office was simply very attractive. She wore clothes that accentuated her figure, often donning tight skirts. As the CEO, she wore only high-quality outfits and always smelled wonderful. The female employees also looked up to and revered her. When I heard she was 40, I was shocked beyond belief. Whenever I completed a task Emily assigned me and brought it to her, she was always surprised. You're done already? Hearing that made me anxious. Oh, maybe I should check it again. As I turned to go back, Emily would laugh and stop me. How many times have you checked it? It's fine, I trust you. I'm just impressed by how fast you are. You're really amazing. I'm lucky to have gotten you without any competition from your previous company. Her words made me want to exceed expectations every time. Emily really knew how to manage people well. Emily's company was a great place to work, and after Christmas, we went on break. Our work often involved sudden tasks, which sometimes required working on holidays. However, Emily ensured we had plenty of time off during the Christmas holidays, arranging it with our clients from the beginning. To handle emergencies, calls to the company were forwarded to Emily. I wondered if she could ever truly relax, but she just laughed it off, saying, "That's part of the job as CEO." While I was enjoying my Christmas holiday, a message came through on my phone. It was from the company group chat. Emily had posted, "Urgent. A system issue at the call center operation on Christmas holidays. Anyone available to help, please respond." As I fumbled to reply, responses from other employees started coming in. "Sorry, I'm back in my hometown. I can help remotely. I'm out with my family, but I can come in if needed." It seemed no one was immediately available. I finished typing my response. "I'm ready to go. I'll head out now. Please enjoy your holidays, everyone." I sent the message, got ready, and left the house. While traveling, more messages had piled up. They read, "Thanks, Alex. Alex, Emily. Thank you. Let us know if you need more help, we'll return." Emily had also sent a message, "You're too kind," which made me chuckle. When I arrived at the office, Emily was already there. "Sorry to drag you in on New Year's Eve," she said gratefully. "You're here too, Emily." "I was just lounging around by myself," I replied, making her laugh softly. "Really, you're too kind. Enjoy your holidays, everyone, such a nice thing to say," she remarked, making me blush a bit. "All right. With you here, it's like having an extra 100 people. Let's get this done," she said enthusiastically, and I followed her lead. We worked from the afternoon until night. Fortunately, the issue wasn't too severe. Some bookings from a particular department weren't reflected in the system. But they managed by handling those bookings via email and inputting them manually in an unaffected department. Relieved that it was resolved in time for a busy New Year's Day. We reported to all relevant parties and started cleaning up, finishing past 10 p.m. As we stepped outside, the cold air stung our skin. Our breath turned white in the frigid air. I buried my face in my scarf as Emily and I started walking. "It's cold, isn't it?" "Yeah, it's New Year's Eve." "Maybe it'll snow," Emily replied. We made small talk. She said she wanted to stop by a convenience store, so I accompanied her. As soon as we entered the store, the warmth made us both smile. "Oh, maybe I'll buy something to eat," she said, wandering through the store. "Maybe I'll get some too." "I think I'll buy some too," I said, following Emily. There was only one pre-packed food left. We both paused for a moment. "You take it, Emily." "I wasn't really planning to eat something tonight," I said, offering it to her. Emily burst out laughing. "I knew you'd say that. You're such a nice guy." Her words made me blush. "No, seriously. It's not a problem." As I tried to explain, Emily glanced around and found something in the frozen section. She picked up a package. "Then how about this? We can eat it together at my place." In her hand was a pack of frozen chicken nuggets enough for two. "Wait, together, at your place." Before I could process what she said, Emily was already heading to the cashier. "Yeah, my place is close by. If you miss the last train, you can take a taxi home." Emily was concerned about something entirely different from what I was worried about. "But wait. I'm a guy, and you're a woman living alone," I stammered, chasing after her as she briskly walked out of the convenience store. Emily laughed heartily. "Come on, what could happen? You're 31, and I'm a 40-year-old woman. Stop worrying and let's go." She laughed it off and kept walking. Wait. Didn't she realize how attractive she was? Even at 40, her figure and beauty were undeniable. But I had given a proper warning. I asked if it was okay for me as a man to enter her home. She said it was fine. So, I'll take her up on the offer. This might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I made up my mind and followed Emily. As soon as I entered her apartment, a sweet fragrance filled the air. The sweet fragrance that always surrounded Emily filled the entire room. Her apartment was tidy. There weren't many belongings. "I just did a big cleanup," she said, preparing coffee. She told me to sit wherever, so I chose a small sofa. I felt incredibly nervous. After a while, Emily brought over some hot coffee and also a bottle of champagne with glasses. "You can drink, right? I saw you drinking at the company party." The amber liquid fizzed pleasantly as she poured it into the elegant glasses. The sound of the bubbles was soothing. And Emily raised her glass. She clinked her glass against mine and said, "Good job. I'm glad you were here, Alex." Just hearing those words made my heart race. I downed my champagne in one gulp. I sat on the sofa while Emily sat on another sofa. As she adjusted her legs, Emily asked, "By the way, Alex, aren't you visiting your parents?" "Oh, I already did. My sister's family is coming for New Year's, and it's so noisy. I have 3 sisters, and the whole family." "How many are coming again?" 13. The youngest is 3, so I end up being their playmate. There's no place for me, so I always go home early. Leave the Christmas gifts for the kids, and leave. Emily burst into laughter, clearly surprised. At my previous job, someone always had to work during the holidays, so I took my break early and worked on the Christmas holiday. This was the one thing I appreciated about the old job. This year, I also thought about how to make an excuse, but in the end, I got my break early and told my family I was working on the holidays and advanced going home. Having 3 sisters must be tough. A potential spouse might be scared off. I couldn't handle it. Hearing that, I felt a bit deflated. And I hesitantly asked, "Emily, are you not planning to get married?" Her face clouded at the question. "I'm too strong-willed to get married. Everyone at the company probably calls me boss lady behind my back. It's true that Emily is strict at work. But that strictness only makes her more attractive." "What are you talking about?" "Emily, everyone looks up to you." When I said that, she blushed slightly. "You say such nice things. Now, drink up." She poured more champagne, almost as if to hide her embarrassment. Well, it might be my chance now. There was something I wanted to tell Emily. I felt it was rude to say it from far, so I moved to sit next to her. Emily looked puzzled. Emily, thank you for inviting me to your company back then. I appreciated her deeply. At that time, honestly, I was at rock bottom. I wanted to work carefully, but at the end, the system I delivered had bugs. I was actually on the verge of quitting and using up my leave. I was in a rush to find the next job. When I thanked her, Emily gave a soft smile. That was a connection you attracted, Alex. Wanting to work carefully drew me to you. I share the same approach to work. Emily propped her chin on her hand, sipping her champagne. That saved me. Your company's approach is really meticulous, and it's the ultimate white-collar environment. I get to work the way I want. And I'm really happy now. Maybe slightly drunk, Emily leaned closer to me. Plus, you're happy working with your dream girl? Hearing that, I turned bright red and nodded yes. Emily laughed. Hey! That's where you're supposed to make a joke. I shook my head vigorously. Emily, you really are my dream girl. Emily gave me a dreamy look. So, will you take me? Her words made my heart leap. No. But you're everyone's dream. Someone like me. I can't. I'm not worthy. When I hastily denied it, Emily smiled. Will kind-hearted Alex give me up too? Her upward glance made my blood boil. I don't want to give you up. I'm happy just seeing you. But I don't want anyone else to marry you. When I confessed, Emily gave a wry smile. What do you mean? Are you telling me not to get married? Those words gave me a sudden push. Will you marry me? Emily finished her champagne. If your sisters are okay with me, then sure. I couldn't tell if she was serious or teasing. I pulled out my phone and opened the family group chat. Then I pulled Emily close. Hey, wait. We took a selfie together and posted it in the group. I sent the message, "This is my future wife." Emily, who seemed to sober up quickly, panicked and said, "Delete it." Right now, but my sisters had already read it. Emily turned pale. Don't worry, it will be fine. As I said that, messages started flooding in. No way. You have such a beautiful girlfriend? She looks amazing. Bet she's great at her job. Hurry up and introduce us. I want to get to know her, filled the screen, and I chuckled. Really? Are you sure about me? I'm about 10 years older. Won't your parents have a problem with that? Emily, who was always so confident, seemed unusually demure. That side of her tugged at my heartstrings. My parents are fine with it. I showed her the next message. It read, looking forward to welcoming another wonderful daughter into our family. After having chicken nuggets for New Year's Eve, we went out to see fireworks. Honestly, things were moving so fast that I could barely keep up. But Emily and I were holding hands, waiting for the countdown. Yes, we are holding hands. My heart was pounding loudly. It feels like a dream, doesn't it? Her words made me nervous. When I first met you at the inn, I thought, what a kind person. I was surprised to hear that. But I was from the company that made that system. Emily smiled and shook her head. After that, you helped me with my computer even though we didn't know each other. I couldn't say no to a request from a beautiful woman. At that moment, I thought I'd love to work with this person. And I also thought, if this cute guy were my boyfriend, he'd love me so much. I turned red at her words. Saying cute isn't exactly a compliment for a guy. I said, trying to hide my embarrassment. Emily burst into laughter. We arrived at the downtown. I can't believe Emily is my girlfriend. I hope we can get married this year. As the New Year's fireworks set off, I made such a selfish wish in my mind. Emily came close and whispered, I wish to marry you. Was that too much? I shook my head vigorously and said I wished for the same. The New Year's fireworks were echoing. Even if I'm supposed to rid myself of desires, my feelings for Emily won't stop. I want to get rid of everything but my desire for Emily and spend a happy year together. With Emily. With that wish in mind, we quietly looked up to the New Year's fireworks,